Hey, this is Les from Power Up Training, and today you're going to learn about everything you need to know about animation in the next 20 minutes. Specifically, I'm going to get you into some of the quick animation tricks. We'll learn about bullets and issues with bullets. We'll learn about how to control things like the order and the timing, and we'll learn some pro tricks along the way. So let's dive in and power up with PowerPoint animations. Here we go. I'm working in the latest Office 365 in Windows, but all that we cover will work going back to PowerPoint 2013. For our Mac users, the concepts work similarly, but not identical. See our follow-up YouTube video that will highlight what is slightly different. On to the quick tour. I'm going to highlight each bullet line, and in the animation ribbon menu, I'm going to select Fly In Animation, and we'll see it previewed as clicked. And I'll do it again for bullet line 2, highlight, click Fly In, and see the preview. We'll focus on this more later, but note that each animation is given an order number. See the 1 and the 2. Now let's do the picture. I'm going to click on the picture. I'm going to now tell it to go ahead and zoom and spin, and we'll see that too now has 1, 2, and 3. Now back to the text. We'll highlight bullets 3 and subpoints 1 and 2. We're going to go ahead and tell them to fly in, and you'll see the numbers added to these. Take a look, and we see the preview that when we click on the preview, it's going to show it on the screen. We could turn this off, but it's nice to be able to preview it just to see how you're doing. The preview is literally a preview and not interacting, but if you want to see a slideshow, we can go down to the very bottom here and you can see the slideshow screen. And the advantage of this is a quick way to jump in to see this slide only as opposed to starting from the beginning. As we do the animation for this slide, we see the title and bullet 4 are not animated, but with each click, bullet 1, bullet 2, and then our picture shows up with a click, and then 3 with the 2 subpoints show up, click, click, click. So that is basic animation, but we can do better and faster. Let's start with faster. We go to the slide I want to work on. I'll click anywhere in the slide, and then I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut of Control A to select everything on this slide. Then I make sure I'm on the animation ribbon tab. Then I just click on an animation such as fade in, and bingo, we're done. Do take notice that the title and the first bullet are the first item. They're tied together. And bullet number 4, which is number 4, is tied with the chart title. Let's see this in action. The first click shows both the title and the bullet line. Click 2 shows one line. Click 3 shows both the heading and the 2 subpoints. And click 4 brings up both the bullet line 4 and the chart. And to confirm that, you can see that bullet 4 and the chart title are both tied to the number 4, which is the click number 4, and the title and bullet line number 1 are tied together with the first click. While that speed trick is slick, let's see how we can take tighter control and a better understanding about animating individual lines of text. In this case, I'm going to select the full text box placeholder, not individual lines. You can see that I have it selected, and now when I choose to animate, you're going to find that it actually animates every single item and it assigns an independent number. So they'll come up one by one, although bullet point 3 is tied with the subpoint. In the slideshow, with a click, we see the first bullet, I click the second bullet, click 3 shows all 3 items, and then number 4 click. I'm going to compare and contrast the differences between selecting the whole text placeholder group with animating individual lines. So let me undo all those actions. For more, see our YouTube tutorial dedicated to undo and redo. Okay, let's go. This time, instead of selecting the whole text box, I'm selecting each of the individual lines. I'm going to choose Fly In, and oh my, look, instead of doing them one by one, they are all tied to one action. Look, one click, and they are all coming in together. Not what we wanted. Before we fix this, let's take a side trip. Instead of undoing all the previous actions, we can do a quick reset of the object animation by selecting the object and then choosing the None animation to reset it to no animation. To complete our compare and contrast, if you select the text directly, then all the selected text will be animated as a single whole. But if you select a text placeholder container, then the individual lines will get animated one click at a time for the most part. Here's a bit more detail. More precise control of a placeholder collection of bullet lines can be found in the effect options, which is grayed out here because we have no selected object animated. So let's go animate our collection of bullets placeholders by choosing grow and turn, and you'll see that they've all become animated and they're numbered 1 through 4. And since they've now been animated, the effect options is no longer grayed out. And when we do the drop-down box, we're going to see that we have 3 choices. At the moment, it's animating them by paragraph, 1 paragraph at a time. We could choose to tell it to do it as one single object and see how it spun in as a single object. Or the third option is to choose all at once. Now they're going to spin in independently, but all at the same time. You do have to watch closely. Look again as we do the drop-down list, and we'll say as a single unit, and then I'll choose the last choice, which is a paragraph at a time, which means each bullet item would come in with a click and a spin. And in slideshow mode, click, 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 and one more click. We've used the effect options to control how bullet points appear. But there's even more capabilities with the effect options based on the type of animation that we have in effect. With the fly-in effect, we see more controls with the effect options. Let's take a look. The bottom 3 items of effect options are what we saw before with the sequencing of the as one object, all at once, or by paragraph. But above, we now have new choices because we're flying in of choosing the direction that is flying in. And it shows a variety of different ways that we could make the bullets come in from the top, from the bottom, from the left, lots of choices. And with each choice, we get a demo of how it's working. So the effect options when flying is selected gives us full control. But watch how the effect options icon literally changes when we choose a different type of animation and see the controls that we have there. So with the split animation, we can choose the direction that the split is happening, inside out, top side down, lots of different choices there. And if we then go ahead and select zoom animation, we'll see the icon changes again. And inside the effects options, once again, we have different types of zooms, either from inside where the bullet is, center point, or from the middle of the slide. In addition to the green animation icons that are basically having the object appear on the screen, we then have other types of animations, such as the yellow ones, that instead will keep the object there, but get them to pulse or change the color. Take a look. And just a reminder, some of the animations have no extra effects, so you'll only see the ability to control how the bullets are dropped in. Up to this point, we've been replacing the current state with a new animation by clicking on the animation button of interest, but we can also make it additive by adding additional actions on top of the current animation action. So here I put my first layer by choosing fly in. That is our first action for our collection of bullets. Now I'm going to go over and choose add animation. I'm going to choose to add in the entrance swivel animation, which is going to add it on top of our existing one. And when it's finished, we're going to see that it added in 4 more steps to our individual bullets. Take a look closely. The first 4 animations are the fly-ins for the bullet points 1 through 4. And then the second set of animations are the swivel. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we see how it was applied. Listen for the 8 clicks to see how they apply one by one by one, all the way through the first set and then back to the swivels. Let's do something a little more real world. Just so that you know, when you do the drop down for the add animation, you see all the choices in the dialog box here. It's the exact same as you see when you do the single animation. They are grouped into the entrances, the emphasis, and the exits. Let's go ahead and add in a fade for our bullet points. I'm going to get rid of our chart just to make this cleaner and simpler to work with. So we'll choose fade again. We'll see all of our bullet points fading in. And now we want to see about adding in a second set of animations to have each bullet point fade away so as not to distract our audience. By choosing the Add Animation action icon, we're adding in a second animation. This time we'll choose Exit and Disappear. And this time, it should not come as a surprise that the 4 additional actions are added after the first 4, not quite the way we want it. And sure enough, if we take a look at it, we're going to find that we're not achieving the effect that we wish. All the bullet points fade in 1 click at a time, and then when we continue on, it then is going to fade them out 1 at a time, but not the order we want. Let's fix this. One method would be to highlight each bullet line and add in an animation, such as fade, and then re-highlight the same bullet line and select Add Animation and choose Exit Animation, such as Disappear, and then repeat 1 bullet line at a time. In this example, I need to highlight the bullet lines 8 times and then click 4 times for the fade in and 4 times for the disappear exit. Actually, it's 4 more times to do the drop down for Add Animation. Whoa. It is a lot of work, but it does work. Bullet point 1 shows up, disappears. Bullet 2 appears, disappears, and so forth. Note that we didn't highlight or do anything with bullet 4. There we go. But there's a better way to do this. And the better way includes the introduction of a new tool, the Animation Pane. 1 click and it provides a list and timeline of all of our animations on the right side of the screen. Lots of information is being displayed here, such as the order of the progressions, what initiates the actions, such as a click as indicated by the mouse. Note that subpoint 1 and 2 have no mouse clicks. They just come on when the parent bullet 3 appears, and then the green icons for the appear actions and the red for the exit animations. But this is an action tool, not just a visual information tool. We can click and drag the individual elements to reorder the animation order. Click and drag, and is then reflected on the main slide canvas area. So, armed with our new tool, let's speed up the appear and disappear animation task. First, we're going to reset the bullet list box to None animation, and then with 1 click, we can add in the fade in animation. And you can see it in the animation pane. You do need to click the expand group icon, and then go back and add in the exit animation of disappear. But the order is still wrong. They all appear 1 by 1, and then they all disappear 1 by 1. So in the animation pane, we can click and drag to reorder, making the disappear follow each appear for the matching item. This can be done with a click and drag, or you can select the animation line and use the up and down arrow icons to move them up and down. Up to this point, all of our added animations are kicked off with the mouse click anywhere on the screen during the slideshow. But we can also make an animation happen on command with a trigger click. Here's a partially started slide with all the bullet points already animated. I'm going to click on the chart and select Grow and Turn Animation, and it becomes the 5th animation on our list. But I want the chart to show up whenever I wish, so we're going to add a trigger. With the chart object selected, I'm going to go up and click Trigger and choose On Click, and then select the item that will become the hotspot, in this case, the title of the slide. And the animation pane gives us a summary of the action here. Let's go try it out. We're in our slideshow. A click will show up bullet 1, another click bullet 2, another click bullet 3. Wait, I want to show up, so I'm going to click on the title, and my chart shows up now. That's how we can do controls of when objects show up on the screen. Time for a pro tip. We've animated many of our slides, but not all of them. PowerPoint will give us a visual indicator of what slides have animations and which ones do not. On the far left, next to the thumbnail preview, when in normal view, there's a small flying star next to the slides that have animations applied. Now it's time to take full control of the animation action. On this next slide, let's animate everything by using our keyboard command of Control + A, and then we'll turn on the zoom for all the objects. We now know how to change the order of the clip art appearance, but we want to take complete control by changing the animation timing from on click to automate it with the command with previous and make it happen immediately with a delay of 0 seconds. Let's go ahead and watch. The title shows up with bullet 1, click bullet 2, bullet 3, and immediately the clip art shows up. So the clip art showed as bullet 3 appeared with no click from us. But what if we want to delay it for a moment, letting the text show up and then waiting 2 seconds before the clip art appears? So we select after previous and set the delay to 2 seconds. So we launch the slideshow, and sure enough, the title will show up first. Then with a click, we get bullet 1, another click, bullet 2, another click, bullet 3, 0, 1, 0, 2, and magically the clip art shows up without a click. The last control to discuss is the duration. This determines how long the animation uses to paint from start to end, helping create smoother and possibly more dramatic entrances and exits. But be careful, don't go overboard. Do take note that the animation pane lets us not only control the order, but we can actually change both the duration and the delay with our mouse by clicking to drag it around or expanding out the green bar. So you have an alternate way, although I prefer the precision of typing in my entries. So with what we've learned, it's obvious that we can create some very elaborate animation effects. But there may be times that you want to replicate the settings more quickly than doing it by hand. So let me add in a new fresh object, and then we're going to take our clipboard animation changes and apply it to the new object with the introduction of the Animation Painter. With my source object selected, I need to be in the animation menu. Then I can go and find something called Animation Painter. I'll click on the ambulance, and bingo, it follows the exact same settings other than the order, which I can now go in and adjust with my click and drag. The Animation Painter is a fantastic tool when working on complex slideshows, but there are also issues. You must understand that it is object-based, which means that working with text is not always ideal. I'm going to go through and format the bullet points in the left text placeholder with the laborious process one by one of setting the entrance and then the exit, and then repeating for all the additional bullet lines in the one text placeholder. I'm speeding up the process in this tutorial, but our goal is to see if we can copy the text placeholder from one side to the other side so we don't have to repeat it with the box on the right. Done. So now let's use the Animation Painter and see if we can save ourselves a lot of work for the text box object on the right. I'll try to highlight section. Oh no, I can't. I can only click on the box and not an individual bullet. So that means that the animation that I applied to bullet 1 on the left side is now applied to the whole text box on the right. So the lesson here is that the animation pane is super, but it's applied to objects, not to individual lines of text. For the most part, we've covered about 95% of everything you need to know about animation. There are some other cutesy little tricks and some tighter controls, such as the ability to go in there and see the effect option dialog box, although most of those have been covered already in our tutorial. I will have a future video for us to take a look at some advanced techniques. But for now, let's look at one last trick. PowerPoint lets us control how an item, such as an object or a photo, is able to move by creating something called an image path. Let's try that. With our object selected, I'm going to go down and choose the turn motion path. And you're going to see, as it shows on the screen, a preview of how it's going to move. But what if we want to control it even more? With the object selected, there is a faint line with a green start point and a red end point. What you do is you click on the red end point and you drag it to where you want the photo or the object to end up at the end of the animation. Do it slowly and wait. It's a little tricky, but click it, drag, and you should get it done. And now let's test it out in the full slideshow mode. For this advanced topic preview, we only animated the photo, but you can see one click and bingo, it's moving. There you go. Now you can bring animations to all of your PowerPoint slideshows. If this was useful, do like it and share it with your coworkers. Also, if you have ideas, leave comments down below. Furthermore, subscribe. Subscriptions help me make more free training for you, training such as our existing classes on animating smart art or how to bring animations to project slides. If you want to learn all you need to know about PowerPoint, then come to our free PowerPoint school at https://power-up.training. Until next time, go power up.